Okay, so as you can see, we are down here in CSEC. Let's go see the requisitions guy before we head down and get awarded the Normandy.
One sec, looking you up. Commander Shepard, here with the Alliance military. First time on the Citadel, that about right?
How did you know all that?
I'm the CSEC requisitions officer. I need to make sure our buyers are authorized. So, will you be purchasing anything today, Commander Shepard?
Show me what you got.
Sounds good. Just let me set you up. Oh, this must be a mistake. System's telling me to offer you our select stock. Spectre? Well, I heard about that, but I didn't realize it was you. Sorry, Commander.
Just show me what you've got.
I'll open the rare stocks for you, Commander. Enjoy.
Of course, we can't get access to some of this stuff yet because, as you can see, they're a little too expensive at the moment. What I am going to do, though, is grab the license and the grenade upgrade. But, let's see, we go ahead and sell some stuff. Now, I wondered what this was about. Apparently, they wanted to add in systems to try and make it managing your inventory better. So they made something here where you can actually label things as junk and then just go ahead and sell it off. So some of this stuff, yeah, I'll go through this myself later off camera once I kind of evaluate stuff. Plus, I like to do this when I'm on the Normandy because then I can go check the gear and such for everybody in my squad. Like you saw there, I have Krogan armor, and I forgot to give that to Rex when he was in my party briefly. So, in the meantime, I'll hold on to that stuff for now. I'll come back and do that on my own. Obviously, I've got to sell some stuff if I want some of the funds in order to pull this off. Apparently, my decryption is also too low at the moment, even though I have both Tally and Garrus with me.
Your business partner, sure. He's threatened you.
So, anyways, let's also really quick talk to Jalid.
Hey there! Oh, you're not CSEC, are you? Did you want something?
What were you trying to explain to the officer before?
My colleague is trying to kill me, and I thought we were friends.
How do you know he wants you dead?
He's changed. He won't talk to me at work anymore, and he started following me. Yesterday, he followed me all the way home, just waiting for a chance. I don't care what anyone thinks. He wants me gone. I know it.
Is there something I can do? Talk to your friend, maybe?
Would you? That's all I want. Someone to talk to him. Tell him to leave me alone. He thinks he can just push me around, but you'll show him, won't you?
Just tell me where he is and I'll go find him.
Oh, right. Well, he wanted to meet with me down in the wards near the markets. He said he just wanted to talk, but I know better. His name's Shorban. He's a Solarian. You shouldn't have any trouble. He's just a scientist.
Wasn't that the Solarian who asked us to scan the Keepers?
The Keepers? Well, even more reason to go after him. That's against regulations.
I like how these two are so paranoid about this that they honestly believe that I would, you know, turn them in and such. They are so afraid of me turning them into the authorities and getting in trouble with the authorities that they are then willing to kill me because of this data.
I better look into this right away. Find out what he's up to.
Anything's possible with Shorban these days. Well, good luck.
And also try to manipulate me into going after the other. As we find out later. How many keepers is that now? 12. It's like, how did I not get that before? Anyways. we'll obviously have to come back for that later once I have done a bit more leveling. Maybe I'll have to come back with both Tally and Caden.
In other news, Exogeny Corp is still denying reports that one of their survey teams has gone missing in the Hades Gamma Cluster. When asked why communication with the survey team was suddenly cut off last week, company officials refused to comment.
Just a reminder that these are the 2 companions that stick with you in all 3 games. Nobody else is with you as companions in all 3 games except for these 2 right here. Let's just say this is one of the big reasons why Garrus and Tally are usually amongst the favorites amongst the fan base. Don't mind me, just have another keeper to scan over here.
The Normandy combines the best of Alliance technology and Turian engineering. It shows what we're capable of if we work together.
Yeah, we got humans and Turians working together. Now, if only we can get the Horde and Alliance working together. But that's never gonna happen, right?
I've got big news for you, Shepard. Captain Anderson is stepping down as commanding officer of the Normandy. The ship is yours now.
She's quick and quiet, and you know the crew. Perfect ship for a Spectre. Treat her well, Commander.
I'll take good care of her, sir.
I know you will, Commander.
I want the truth. Why are you stepping down, sir?
You needed your own ship. A Spectre can't answer to anyone but the Council. And it's time for me to step down.
Come clean with me, Captain. You owe me that much.
I was in your shoes 20 years ago, Shepard. They were considering me for the Spectres.
Why didn't you ever mention this?
What was I supposed to say? I could have been a Spectre, but I blew it? I failed, Commander. It's not something I'm proud of. Ask me later and I'll tell you the whole story. For now, all you need to know is, I was sent on a mission with Saren, and he made sure the Council rejected me. I had my shot. It came and went. Now you have a chance to make up for my mistakes.
I won't let you down, sir.
Saren's gone. Don't even try to find him. But we know what he's after. The conduit. He's got his Geth scouring the Traverse looking for clues.
We had reports of Geth in the Pharaoh system shortly before our colony there dropped out of contact, and there have been sightings around Noveria.
Find out what Saren was after on Pharos and Noveria. Maybe you can figure out where the conduit is before he does.
The Reapers are the real threat.
I'm with the Council on this one, Shepard. I'm not sure they even exist.
But if they do exist, the conduit's the key to bringing them back. Stop Saren from getting the conduit, and we stop the Reapers from returning.
Anything else?
We have one more lead. Matriarch Benezia, the other voice in that recording. She has a daughter, a scientist who specializes in the Protheans. We don't know if she's involved, but it might be a good idea to try and find her. See what she knows. Her name's Liara, Dr. Liara Tassoni.
Woo!
We have reports she was exploring an archaeological dig on one of the uncharted worlds in the Artemis Tau cluster.
Yeah, we're going straight for Liara.
Sounds like we should head for the Artemis Tau cluster.
It's your decision, Commander. You're a Spectre now. You don't answer to us.
But your actions still reflect on humanity as a whole. You make a mess and I get stuck cleaning it up.
I'll try not to make things any harder on you, Ambassador.
Glad to hear it, Commander. Remember, you were a human long before you were a Spectre. I have a meeting to get to. Captain Anderson can answer any questions you might have.
Apparently he doesn't consider me a human anymore.
Yes, Commander?
How are you holding up?
Honestly, this isn't how I pictured my career coming to an end. Pushing papers really isn't my thing, but you're the one who can stop Saren. I believe in you, Shepard. If that means I have to step aside, so be it.
Don't worry, I'll set you up, well, by the end of this.
What do you know about the Artemis Tau cluster?
Not much. I've never been there myself. A handful of systems with a few small, uncharted worlds, but no real colonies. Might not be easy finding Dr. Tassoni out there. My advice is to look for the world with the Prothean ruins.
Yep.
What can you tell me about Novaria?
Novaria's trouble. Always has been. The whole planet's basically a center for corporations to conduct illegal research. Watch your back there, Shepard. Spectres are about the only form of Citadel authority Novaria respects. But they aren't popular.
Any extra intel you can give me on our colony at Pharos?
The entire planet used to be one giant Prothean city. Mostly ruins now. But some of the infrastructure is still intact. The colony tried to build on what the Protheans left behind. We lost all contact with them when the Geth attacked.
I want to know the truth about you and Saren. I want to know about the mission you were on together all those years ago.
We had intel on a rogue scientist being funded by Batarian interests. He was trying to set up a facility to develop illegal AI technology out in the Verge. Alliance intel had done all the work, but the Council wanted a Spectre involved. We compromised. I was assigned to help Saren in his investigation. We tracked the scientist to a refining facility on Kamala. He was hidden away somewhere inside, protected by an army of Batarian mercenaries. The plan was simple. Sneak into the plant, capture the scientist, sneak back out. Quick, quiet, and a minimum of bloodshed.
I'm guessing things didn't go as planned?
Saren and I split up to cover more ground. Then about halfway through the mission, there was a massive explosion in the refinery core. Officially, it was ruled an accident, but I think Saren detonated it on purpose to draw off the enemy guards.
How many casualties?
The explosion tore the refinery to shreds. The whole place was on fire. Black chemical clouds poured out into the atmosphere. Nobody inside survived. There was a camp for the workers and their families nearby. Between the fires and the toxic fumes, the final death count was over 500. Mostly civilians. Saren didn't care. The target was eliminated, mission accomplished, and I ended up taking the blame. That ended all talk of me joining the Spectres.
Saren caused the explosion. How'd he pin it on you?
In his report, Saren accused me of blowing his cover. He said it was my fault the guards were ready for us. He claimed that's why it turned into a massacre. Saren's report was all the proof the Council needed to kill my chances of becoming a Spectre.
Don't blame yourself, Captain.
I don't. I blame Saren. I think he wanted things to go bad. He was looking for an excuse to blow that refinery. Maybe he just likes the violence. Maybe he was just trying to make me look bad to keep humans out of the Spectres. If so, he pulled it off.
Why'd you let him get away with it?
Who do you think the Council was going to listen to? Me? Or their best agent? I had a bad feeling about him right from the start. I should have been more careful. Maybe I could have stopped things before they got out of hand.
The only thing I care about is stopping Saren.
You're right, Commander. It's no good living in the past.
I should go.
I'll be here if you need me.
That conversation leveled me up. Alright. Bigger store discount. 2 more points. There we go. 1 more point and I can put medium armor on. Garrus. That's one reason why my decryption is so low. I didn't put anything in here with him. Go ahead and do that. Give him some, decryption skills. I've got quite the, hacking tech team here with both Garrus and Tally, don't I?
Stand by, shore party. Decontamination in progress.
I heard what happened to Captain Anderson. Survives 100 battles and then gets taken down by backroom politics. Just watch your back, Commander. Things go bad on this mission, you're next on their chopping block.
Captain Anderson should be the one in charge. It's like I'm stealing the ship from him.
Yeah, the captain got screwed. But it's not like you could have stopped it. Nobody's blaming you. Everyone on this ship's behind you, Commander. 100%. Intercom's open. If you got anything you want to say to the crew, now's the time.
This is Commander Shepard speaking.
We have our orders. Find Saren before he finds the conduit. I won't lie to you, crew. This mission isn't going to be easy.
For too long, our species has stood apart from the others.
Now it's time for us to step up and do our part for the rest of the galaxy. Time to show them what humans are made of.
Our enemy knows we're coming.
When we go into the Traverse, Saren's followers will be waiting for us. But we'll be ready for them, too.
Humanity needs to do this.
Not just for our own sake, but for the sake of every other species in Citadel space. Saren must be stopped, and I promise you all, we will stop him.
Well said, Commander. Captain will be proud.
The Captain gave up everything so I could have this chance. We can't fail.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is why Shepard is the commander. The charisma and the capability of giving the right kind of speeches. And it's no wonder why everyone rallies around Shepard.
If anyone has to take over for Captain Anderson, I'm glad it's you. I'm not sure about having non-humans on our ship, though.
We're all on the same team here, Presley.
With all due respect, ma'am, that's what they said about Nihilus. Look how that turned out.
I should also point out, and again, I'm building to that that little bit coming up involving Ashley, because the thing is, it's not just Ashley that says similar things here. Presley is the same way as well. Now, some people, go ahead and say, oh yeah, they started off this and they grew out of it and were no longer feeling that way by the time this game ended, because they had spent time with the others and gotten to know them and such and saw them in action, and they were much more okay with it by then. But I'm telling you guys, if you play a Renegade Shepard, you can be even worse. I'm just saying,
Speak freely, Presley. I want to know if you have a problem with non-humans.
It's not that, Commander. Humanity has always handled its own problems. Saren attacked one of our colonies. We should be the ones to stop him. We don't need their help.
Some people think asking for help is a sign of weakness. That's just being stupid and stubborn. No matter how strong you are, allies can make you stronger.
I guess so. Maybe I'm just stuck in the old ways of thinking. But don't worry, Commander. This won't be a problem.
Carry on, Presley.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's one of those examples of Presley's character growth. Showing that he eventually does kind of grow out of that way of thinking and mentality.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
That always reminds me of that funny little bit in the Citadel DLC, where they kind of joke about how often Shepard says, "I should go." I remember how much that made me laugh the first time I played that.
Anything you need, Commander?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
I don't see how we could have done things any better. At least not without getting to Eden Prime sooner. And we were on the scene faster than any other Alliance ship could have been.
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
I've wasted enough of your time for now, Commander. We'll have time for personal debriefings later.
We'll talk another time, Lieutenant.
Commander?
Definitely a faster elevator ride. Shepard, Rex. Speaking of which, whoops. Ah. Mouse is a bit sensitive, it looks like. Oh, it's heavy armor. He can't do that just yet.
Nice ship you got, Shepard. What can I do for you?
What's your story, Rex?
There's no story. Go ask the Quarian if you want stories.
You Krogans live for centuries. Don't tell me you haven't had a few interesting adventures.
Well, there was this one time the Turians almost wiped out our entire race. That was fun.
I heard about that. You know, they almost did the same to us.
It's not the same.
It seems pretty much the same to me.
So your people were infected with a genetic mutation? An infection that makes only a few in 1,000 children survive birth? And I suppose it's destroying your entire species?
I suppose it isn't all the same.
I don't expect you to understand, but don't compare humanity's fate with the Krogan.
I was just making conversation. I wasn't trying to upset you.
Your ignorance doesn't upset me, Shepard. As for the Krogan, I gave up on them long ago. The genophage infected us, but it's not what's killing us.
Are your people really dying?
We're sure not getting any stronger. We're too spread out. None of us are interested in staying in our own system.
Lots of species have left their homes and prospered.
But they go to colonize new worlds. We're not settlers. We're warriors. We want to fight. So we leave. Hire ourselves out. And most of us never go back.
What can you tell me about the genophage?
Ask the Solarians if you want details. They made it. All I know, it makes breeding nearly impossible. Thousands die in stillbirth, and most never get that far. Every Krogan is infected, every one. And no one's rushing to find a cure.
Why don't the Krogan try to find a cure?
When was the last time you saw a Krogan scientist? You ask a Krogan, would he rather find a cure for the genophage or fight for credits? He'll choose fighting every time. It's just who we are, Shepard. I can't change that. Nobody can.
This does make the comment that Mordin says in Mass Effect 2 later on, where we ask him about whether or not any Krogan scientists would have found one, and he goes, Krogan scientist? Never found one worthy of the term. And he's not necessarily saying that in the kind of like uppity, kind of prejudiced view in that regard. He's just kind of like, look, when I think of the term Krogan scientist, I kind of hold that term in a very high regard. And even Rex here is like, when was the last time you actually saw a Krogan scientist? So it kind of helps put that into perspective, that even Rex is like, look, we don't really have scientists, because what would we rather do? Find a cure or just keep on fighting until we die, you know? So it just kind of, it takes some of the ooh, you know, from that comment from Morden off, in my opinion.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
Commander?
What's your opinion of the last mission?
Kinda wish you'd got there sooner, Commander. No offense, I appreciate the rescue. I just wish...
You wish we'd been able to save the rest of your unit?
Yes, ma'am. If I had been more alert, we wouldn't have been cut down by an ambush.
The Geth are perfect ambushers. They don't move, they don't make noise, they don't even breathe.
They have flashlight heads, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Do you have a few minutes to talk? One-on-one?
I'm sorry, Commander. I need to get my duty squared away. I wouldn't mind talking more later, though.
Dismissed, Chief.
Ma'am.
Thanks for bringing me on board, Commander. I knew working with the Spectre would be better than life at CSEC.
Have you worked with the Spectre before?
Well, no, but I know what they're like. Spectres make their own rules. You're free to handle things your way. At CSEC, you're buried by rules. The damn bureaucrats are always on your back.
For the most part, the rules are there for a reason.
Maybe. But sometimes it feels like the rules are only there to stop me from doing my work. If I'm trying to take down a suspect, it shouldn't matter how I do it, as long as I do it.
But CSEC wants it done their way. Protocol and procedure come first. That's why I left.
Yeah, and that's why he eventually becomes a vigilante on Omega by the name of Archangel.
So you just quit because you didn't like the way they do things?
There's more to it than that. It didn't start out bad, but as I rose in ranks, I got saddled with more and more red tape. C-Sec's handling of Saren was typical. I just couldn't take it anymore. I hate leaving.
I hope you made the right choice. I'd hate for you to regret it later.
Well, that's sort of why I teamed up with you. It's a chance for me to get off the Citadel, see how things are done outside C-Sec. Either way, I plan to make the most of this. And without C-Sec headquarters looking over my shoulder, well, maybe I can get the job done my way for a change.
If getting the job done means endangering innocent people, then no. We get the job done right, not fast. Got it?
I wasn't trying to. I understand, Commander.
Hey, Commander. Looking for some extra supplies before you head out?
What have you got?
Whatever you want. Armor, weapons, mods. It's not standard Alliance issue, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Well, as long as you don't mind paying for it.
Why should I pay you for my weapons and armor?
My stuff doesn't come from the Alliance. I have to purchase it myself, and it's not cheap. Hell, the licenses alone have set me back more than I'd like. But no licenses, no goods. Without the goods, I'm out of a job.
Which is why I keep going around grabbing the licenses.
What are licenses? Why do you need them?
Manufacturers sell licenses. Each license allows me to buy and sell a certain brand of products. I already have several basic ones, but you'll need to buy more if you want me to bring in different brands. Many of the best licenses are hard to get, but they're well worth the cost if you can find them.
Remember how I mentioned earlier that I've worked a number of years in retail? Yeah. Yep. I have heard this conversation.
What do the different manufacturers offer?
There are too many for me to keep track of, but each license will explain what it's good for.
Let's see what you've got.
You bet, Commander.
Yeah, I've only got 2,000 credits, so we have to wait a bit. Like I said, I will do some management of this later. On my own, off camera. Adams!
Hey, Commander, you know that Quarian, Tally? She's been spending all her time down here asking me about our engines.
I'll tell her to leave you alone.
What? No, she's amazing. I wish my guys were half as smart as she is. Give her a month on board and she'll know more about our engines than I do. She's got a real knack for technology, that one. I can see why you wanted her to come along.
I figured she'd be a real asset to the team.
You got an eye for Tally, Commander, but I'm guessing that's not why you came down here.
Where else have you served, Adams?
If you name a class of Alliance ship, I've probably served on it. Everything from dreadnoughts and carriers right down to frigates like the Normandy. My last assignment was on the Tokyo, only a cruiser, but she was a good ship. Couldn't hold a candle to the Normandy, though.
I want to know more about the Normandy.
She's the best ship I've ever served on, probably the fastest vessel ever designed. And she's the only one using the new Tantalus drive core.
What's so special about the Tantalus drive core?
Proportionally, it's about twice the size of any other vessel. Not only are we faster, we can run at FTL speeds longer before we have to discharge the core.
Carry on, Adams.
Aye, aye, Commander.
I was so happy when he came back in 3.
Your ship's amazing, Shepard. I've never seen a drive core like this before. I can't believe you were able to fit it into a ship this small. I'm starting to understand why you humans have been so successful. I had no idea Alliance vessels were so advanced.
The Normandy's a prototype, cutting-edge technology.
A month ago, I was patching a makeshift fuel line into a converted tug ship in the flotilla. Now, I'm sitting on board one of the most advanced vessels in Citadel space. I have to thank you again for bringing me along. Traveling on a vessel like this is a dream come true for me.
I should mention that the ship is also made by the Turians, so we can't take all the credit.
I had no idea you found ship technology so interesting.
It comes with being a Quarian. The migrant fleet is the key to the survival of my people. Ships are our most valuable resource. But we don't have anything like this. We make do with cast-offs and second-hand equipment. We just try to keep them running for as long as we can. Some of the fleet's larger vessels date all the way back to our original flight from the Geth.
I can't believe your fleet's still using ships that are 3 centuries old.
They're constantly being repaired, modified, and refitted. They aren't pretty, but they work. Mostly. We've tried to make ourselves as independent as possible on the flotilla. Grow our own food, mine, and process our own fuel. But some things we just can't make on our own. A patch to maintain the hull integrity requires raw materials we just don't have. That's why our pilgrimages are so important.
I want to know more about the pilgrimage.
When my people reach maturity, we leave our birth ships and seek acceptance with a new crew. It's necessary to maintain genetic diversity among the fleet. But no ship wants to accept someone who will be a burden on them. So, to prove our worth, we embark on a pilgrimage. We set out alone, leaving the flotilla and our families behind us. We only return once we have found something of value we can bring back to the fleet. This is presented as a gift to the captain of the respective ship we wish to join. If the gift is accepted, we are welcomed into the crew.
Can a captain choose to reject the gift?
That doesn't happen often. Most captains are eager to increase the size of their crew. It increases their own standing in our society. Even when a gift is not particularly valuable, the captain usually accepts it out of a sense of tradition. However, there is a stigma to presenting a substandard gift. It's not the best way to make a good impression on a new community. Most pilgrims don't return until they find something worthwhile.
I can't believe they just send you off alone.
It's not like they just cast us out. Before we leave, we are given lessons in how to survive outside the flotilla, and given gifts to help us on our journey. We also receive implants to fight off sickness and disease. Generations of living in an isolated and highly controlled environment have left our immune systems weaker than most. By the time we leave the fleet, we are well equipped for the pilgrimage. This is a rite of passage for all Quarians. If it were dangerous, our numbers would suffer. Virtually every pilgrimage ends with a triumphant return and the ritual presentation of the gift to one of the fleet's captains.
I just love that she goes from being here on her pilgrimage, trying to find something valuable to return to the fleet to prove her worth amongst the society, even though she is the daughter of an admiral. But that doesn't necessarily matter in this case, to being amongst one of the admirals and leaders of her people. I just love that that's how far she goes in her journey alongside us.
I want to talk about something else.
Like what?
Tell me about your people.
Our lives aren't easy. Resources are scarce, and we are constantly on the move. Everything we do must in some way contribute to the continuation of the migrant fleet. There are 17 million Quarians in the flotilla, and each of us relies on the others for survival. The bonds among my people are strong. Unfortunately, we have had to surrender many of the freedoms and civil liberties other species take for granted.
What kind of freedoms?
Well, it's illegal for parents to have more than one child. If our population grows too much, it would strain our resources to their breaking point. Of course, we also can't allow our numbers to become too few. If our population is in decline, the rule against single births is temporarily repealed. In extreme cases of population decline, incentives are even offered to encourage multiple births, though the Conclave hasn't had to take such measures in nearly a century.
Okay, 2 questions for Tally after hearing all that. One, if the family, say, has twins, it just happens, what happens to the other child? Although I guess the then follow-up question to that is, do they check if there perhaps is twins and is something done to prevent the other child from being born? Just saying, sometimes you can't control how many children are conceived. That's just one question I'm curious about. The other, I'm curious about. When she says incentives are offered to encourage multiple births, what incentives are they actually offering? I'm just kind of curious after she mentioned that. Like, what would that be?
That's your government.
The Conclave is our civilian branch of government.
The Conclave were these horrible group of Protoss that would... Oh, sorry.
Decisions that affect the fleet as a whole. On matters that affect an individual ship, however, the captain has the final say. It's a tradition that dates back to the early days, when the fleet was governed by martial law. Fortunately, most captains nowadays are smart enough to have an elected council from their crew to give them advice and guidance.
Let's just say I'm a little reluctant to refer to them as the Conclave, because whenever I hear the word Conclave, like I joked, I remember that ridiculously stupid group of Protoss that helped run the Protoss people on Ire. You guys know which ones I'm talking about, if you've seen my stuff among StarCraft.
So the ultimate power rests with elected officials?
In practice, the Conclave and the respective council for each ship tend to set the rules that govern our daily lives. But in theory, we are still under military jurisdiction. The 5 top-ranking military officials in the fleet serve on the Admiralty Board. These 5 have the power to overrule any decision by the Conclave in case of emergency. To do so requires unanimous agreement among the Admiralty, and they can only do this once. After that, the entire board must resign their posts. It's a safeguard that served us well. In nearly 3 centuries, the Admiralty Board has only overruled the Conclave 4 times.
I want to know more about the Geth.
I doubt I can tell you anything you don't already know. It's been almost 3 centuries since they drove my people into exile. All I know is the story of their origins. What they were when we created them, and how they turned on us.
Interesting.
The Geth were originally created to serve as an automated manual labor force. Initially, their intelligence was as limited as any VI. Over time, we made small modifications to their programming to allow them to perform more varied and complex tasks, bringing them closer and closer to true AI status.
Again, considering what we find out later, well, yeah.
How come the council didn't step in and stop you?
This wasn't true AI research. We may have been skirting the bounds of the law, but we never did anything that was actually illegal. The changes were so insignificant, so gradual, that we were able to control them. Or so we thought. But one thing we underestimated was the power of the neural network. A million Geth thinking simultaneously created an inherently unstable matrix.
By the way, it's not just in 3 we find this out, it's also during the conversations that we have with Legion in Mass Effect 2. Does this unit have a soul?
So the Geth share brain power?
Many of the Geth's logic systems were designed to work in concert with other nearby Geth. Basically, the more of them you have in a group, the smarter they are.
So there's some sort of group consciousness?
No, nothing like that. They cannot share sensory data or information. Their programming cannot handle that much simultaneous input. Each Geth maintains an individual awareness and identity. The neural network only operates on a process-based level. It's basically the synthetic equivalent of a subconscious. But when they're in close proximity, they can coordinate low-level functional processes, freeing up more capacity for original or independent thought.
There are a couple of times that this kind of comparison can be made. One is the Borg in Star Trek. The other is actually from StarCraft, but we didn't get to see this until Legacy of the Void, when we encountered the Purifiers. and all of them, all the main ones, just tons, like hundreds if not thousands of them on a ship, and they're like, we will reach consensus on this, and it was like, okay, we're done. Like a handful of seconds where even Felix was like, they are deliberating, and then a few seconds later, all right, we've made a decision. And it was just like, wow, that's scary. Like, they came to a decision that fast. That's the epitome of reaching a consensus amongst that large of a group. Right there.
That doesn't make any sense.
I'm probably oversimplifying. The Geth are incredibly advanced and complex creations. All you need to know is that they get smarter when they gather in large numbers. As we built more and more Geth, their effective intelligence became more sophisticated, more abstract. One day, a Geth began to ask its Quarian overseer questions about the nature of its existence. Am I alive? Why am I here? What is my purpose?
Does this unit have a soul?
Imagine, this caused a near panic among my people.
I don't see what's so bad about those questions.
The Geth were created to engage in mundane, repetitive, or dangerous manual labor. That's fine for machines, but it won't satisfy a sentient being for long. The Geth were showing signs of rudimentary self-awareness and independent thought. If the Geth were intelligent, then we were essentially using them as slaves. It was inevitable the newly sentient Geth would rebel against their situation. We knew they would rise up against us, so we acted first. A general order went out across all Quarian-controlled systems to permanently deactivate all Geth. The Geth responded to this order violently.
It's a shame that they didn't instead go, you know what? Why don't we instead try to work together in a cohesive, kind of cooperative type of society? Since that's, as Legion points out, that's what the Geth wanted. They didn't want to rebel and drive them away. The Quarians just thought that that's what they would do because, oh, they're machines on AI, so that's what they will obviously do. And as we find out from Legion, that wasn't the case.
Hey, you can't blame them for fighting for their survival.
We had no other choice. The Geth were already on the verge of revolution. By acting quickly, we had a chance to end the war before it began. The hope was that most of the Geth would still be little more than machines, incapable of organized resistance. But they had progressed much further than anyone anticipated. The war was long and bloody. Millions upon millions of Quarians died at their hands. In the end, we were forced to flee our own homeworld. We feared the Geth would pursue us, but they never came beyond the Veil. Now we drift through space, exiles searching for a way to reclaim what was once ours.
It's hard to feel sorry for you. Your ancestors tried to wipe out another species.
We made a mistake when we created the Geth in the first place. But we did not make a mistake when we went to war against them. If
Tali.
they would have wiped us out. They're a synthetic life form. They have no use for organics. None. Why do you think they cut themselves off from the rest of the galaxy? Why do you think they've killed every organic being who's ever tried to contact them?
They didn't kill Saren.
What does that tell you? The Geth are not innocent victims in all this. They're the enemy. They want to destroy us. Not just the Quarians. All organic life. That's why they've joined up with Saren. And that's why we have to stop him.
Don't worry. Tali learns the truth about this and comes to realize how wrong she was later.
I should go.
See you later.
Yeah, she's young and she still believes that, but once we, have Legion and spend more time with the Geth and such, we come to find out the actual truth of what was going on. Like I said, the fact that Legion pointed out that that's not what the Geth ever actually wanted in the first place just shows how wrong that assumption that she and the Quarian people made. That just because they are AI, well then that must mean that they will want to wipe us all out. Nope. Alright, so I know this is already getting long, this part here, but let's finish things off by talking with Joker, and then I'm gonna head back to the Citadel and take care of some side mission stuff.
Commander, Something you need?
How's the Normandy performing? Is she everything they said she'd be?
She's the best ship in the fleet. If you've got a pilot who knows how to handle her. Balance isn't what you'd expect. Takes a while to get used to that oversized drive core we got stuffed in the back, and her power can sneak up on you if you're not careful. The Normandy's probably too much ship for your average Alliance pilot, Commander. Lucky for you, I'm anything but average.
I like to know my crew. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
I can see where this is going. You did a background check on me, didn't you? Well, I'll tell you the same thing I told the captain. You want me as your pilot. I'm not good. I'm not even great. I am the best damn helmsman in the Alliance fleet. Top of my class in flight school, I earned that. All those commendations in my file, I earned every single one. Those weren't given to me as charity for my disease.
I'm sorry, Joker. I didn't even know you were sick.
You mean you didn't know? Oh, crap. Okay, I've got Vrolik syndrome, brittle bone disease. The bones in my legs never develop properly. They're basically hollow, too much force and they'll shatter. Even with crutches and my leg braces, it's hard to get around. One wrong step and crack! It's very dramatic. But I've learned to manage my condition, Commander. Put the Normandy in my hands and I'll make her dance for you. Just don't ask me to get up and dance unless, you like the sound of snapping shin bones.
I wonder how much Seth Green loved playing this character. Like, how much did he really enjoy this character and doing his dialogue and such? Because it sounds like, at times, like he really had fun with it and he really got into it. I really hope he did.
Why does everyone call you Joker?
It's a lot shorter than saying Alliance Flight Lieutenant Jeff Moreau. Plus, I love to make little children laugh.
You're dodging the question.
Look, I didn't pick the name. One of the instructors in flight school used to bug me about never smiling. She started calling me Joker, and it stuck.
Why didn't you ever smile?
Hey, I worked my ass off in flight school, Commander. The world's not gonna hand you anything if you go around grinning like an idiot. By the end of the year, I was the best pilot in the academy, even better than the instructors, and everybody knew it. They'd all got their asses kicked by the sickly kid with the creaky little legs. One guess who was smiling at graduation?
I need to know more about this Vrolik syndrome if I'm putting my ship in your hands.
Yeah, of course you do. It's an extremely rare condition. Nobody knows exactly what causes it. Genetic, maybe. It's treatable, but there's no cure. They classify my case as moderate to severe. I was born with over a dozen fractures. Hip, thighs, ankles. My bones were already breaking in the womb. 100 years ago, I wouldn't have survived past my first year. Lucky for me, modern medical science has turned me into a productive member of society.
What's a good thing is that when you think about how far medical technology has come, even in our current real life days, it's pretty impressive, And I really hope that it reaches the point that they're talking about here in this game, where he's saying if this happened back then, he wouldn't have survived in his first year of life. But because of how far technology is in this setting at this point, now, yeah, the Prothean thing, obviously that helped, but, just the fact that it was able to help him live as, this long. And just think about what he talked about, the amount of fractures he's got in his body, and what it would be like to live with that. Now, I've personally never fractured any of my bones, never broken any of my bones. I've kind of tried to go out of my way to avoid putting myself in situations where I could break or shatter any of the bones in my body. But having to live with that like he does? Oh, my goodness.
You're not gonna break a bone trying to fly the ship, are you?
I don't fly with my feet, Commander, so I'm fine as long as I'm in this chair. I gotta be real careful when I get up to take a piss, though. I can do my job as well as anyone on the ship. Better, actually. So don't worry about it.
I have to go.
All right, see you.
All right, and with that, I'm going to head back to the Citadel and see if I can get some side mission stuff done. And the next main thing on the agenda is obviously going to be going after Liara because, well, let's just say if we take too long to go find her, if we go do like Novaria and Pharos and such first before we go see Liara, by the time we get there, she's going to be like, going a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. She'll be delirious and, you know, having not slept or had anything to eat and such in a long time. So the sooner we go free her, the better condition she'll be in by the time we find her. So that's going to be one of the main things I do, of course. Obviously, I have some other things to do as well. We're going to go see Conrad Werner again, probably. Deal with Jalid and Chorben and what's going on with the Keepers. I'll probably go around and try and do some more of the Keeper stuff. There's also some of the other side missions and such. However, there is probably one more thing that I'll come across. And I'll try to hold off and save showing that on camera, just so I can show the specific extra thing that you can be able to check out and experience if you play as a Spacer Shepherd. So stay tuned.